Hello and welcome to another show of The Bloom Room. I'm Amy E. Reichert. I'm here with Heather Webb.
Hi.
And fantastic guest, Kerry Anne King. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited. Kerry is just delightful, so this is going to be a good time. So Kerry is a best-selling author, and you write, is it fantasy? Urban fantasy?
No.
Give us the rundown, Kerry Anne King.
Nice try, Amy.
You write underneath a different pen name.
I do. You're right. Yes. So as Carrie Schaefer, I write something that is paranormal mysteries. I
was missing that part of the equation. I knew that other people's things was not urban fantasy or fantasy or anything. My brain was getting crossed.
It's my fault because I gave you the quick Kerry. So Blooms. Kerry is one of my favorite people. I just have to tell you, I love this woman. We are friends. I have read this wonderful book, Other People's Things. She does write urban fantasy and paranormal mysteries under Kerry Schaefer, but Kerry Anne King writes very wonderful, rich women's fiction with magical elements.
Yeah. I got mixed up in my brain.
There you go. And often a little bit of mystery and a romantic subplot because
love it. These are all things that I like very, very much.
Oh, good.
So clearly I need to be stocking my shelf with all of the Kerry books.
Good. Other people's books.
Last name. So we're so excited to have you, even though I've completely botched the introduction. Oh, it's one of those days. Heather, are we ready for some poppy news?
We are. We don't have a lot this week, but we have important news.
We do.
And the important news is Katie Moretti has a brand new book out today.
Here it is.
The Spires.
Yay. Happy launch day, Katie.
Happy release day. And if you haven't read Katie yet, I think many of you have, but if you've not, she writes sort of delicious, twisty domestic suspense.
She does. Her first book that I can't remember what it was called now, but I read it at Con, would have been 2 years ago, I think, before COVID. And I'd met Katie and she's so lovely and delightful, I thought. And then I was reading the book on the plane and I messaged to Instagram and everywhere that she looks nice. I wouldn't trust anybody who can think of this stuff.
You know, isn't that the way? I feel like there's an awful lot of people who write twisty, dark stuff who seem really nice and sweet. Like I'm thinking specific, like Mary Kubica is one that I think of because she's so nice and kind and gentle and fosters kittens and then writes some really disturbing stuff.
Oh my God, Megan Collins is another one. I just read The Family Plot. And she's so sweet, seemingly.
Mm-hmm. I've heard this is the same thing. I don't know if it's Gillian or Gillian Flynn. I've heard she is also very sweet and kind. And, well, we know how twisty that got.
And Sharon says, just seem really nice. That's right.
We don't know for sure.
We don't.
So the very first time I ever went to a writer's conference, I had only written 6 chapters of the first thing I'd ever written in my life. And I sat at a table across from a woman in her 60s who was lovely. And we chatted. She's married to a Scottish guy. And she took me under her wing and was showing me around. And I was all nervous and alone, whatever. She wrote like award-winning horror. And I was so shocked. And I remember asking her, like, you write horror? Like, you're so lovely and like not a cranky old white guy, which is what I associate at that time, 12 years ago, I associated that with horror. And it was shocking and totally opened my mind. I will say that. You never know. You never know what people are up to. So happy pub day to Kerry. We're getting lots of congratulations. So yay. So, all right, speaking of books, you guys, what are we reading? Kerry, are you reading something or have you read something recently you would love to talk about? Share with us?
have been reading so much good stuff lately. I could go on for hours, but I won't because, well, short time here. So I am going to mention that I read this mystery that I just absolutely fell in love with. It was called The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. And it's about it's set in Britain somewhere. It's about these people in a retirement community who get together on Thursdays to solve cold cases. And one of them may have been a spy in her younger days and a few other things. So a real murder happens and then they get all involved in the investigation. And it's all the things I love in a book. It's like great. I didn't know who did what, like great clues, great mystery, great whodunit. Characters that I just adore, especially because they're older and still really, really smart. And it still has this like deep side to it, things that kind of make you want to cry or make you really happy. And I finished it and just had that, oh my God, it's awesome. And there's a new one coming out called The Man Who Died Twice. So I'm super, super, super excited to get the new one. It's on my...
Can you tell us the author again? I missed that.
His name is Richard Osman, Osman.
Okay.
Absolutely fabulous. Highly, highly, highly recommend.
Oh, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
What about you, Amy? What are you reading?
So I am reading a book that I have been asked to blurb, and I love it when I get books to blurb that are totally different than what I write, because it's just sort of a nice, fun change of pace. And this book is called Shady Hallow by Juno Black.
Great.
I think this is going to be their debut. It's two people writing together. It is Animal Crossing meets Knives Out. So cozy, and all the characters are animals.
That's adorable. Is it an adult book?
It's an adult book.
Wow.
So I am just super excited. When I was asked, the reason they asked me, because obviously I'm not a mystery writer, or let alone a cozy mystery writer, but they are affiliated with a local bookstore in town. So that I think they just like, hey, what authors do we know that we can ask? But I saw animals, mystery, I'm like, I'm in. This sounds so fun.
So Heather's making a face. It's about the animals, isn't it? It's like... Yeah,
I didn't even realize I was making a face till you said that. Then I looked
just
and I was
a little
like,
bit.
I'm like this.
I know. So Shady Hallow, there's going to be a whole series of them. The first one comes out in January. Author's Juno Black. So very excited. I think it's going to be great.
It sounds very interesting.
Right.
Okay. So I am actually, you guys know I love the audiobook thing. I am reading paperback, but I've been reading the same paperback for like 6 weeks. So I'm going to share my audiobook. It's called The Plot, and I literally just downloaded it today. But it's by Jean Han Korelitz, and it was a bestseller. And it's actually about this guy who is a writer who is also a professor in an MFA program, but he's kind of crappy. He's like a bad teacher. It's like a third or fourth rate program. And he's really jealous of a student of his who is the real deal writer, who just got this amazing deal, or it's about to be published or something like that. And then he finds out the student dies, and so then he takes the manuscript and poses as the author. And so you fast forward, and he's got this wild success. And then he receives this email that says something like, "You're a thief." And then things kind of go from there. And I was like, okay, first of all, I've had a few people recommend this. Second of all, that sounds so intriguing. Plus, we love reading about writers, I think. And
we do.
Stealing a whole novel? Like, what? So I'm excited to dig into this one.
I just wrote it down. I'll probably read that.
And Sharon says The Plot was Jimmy Fallon's book club pick. So I didn't know that. Well, that's good to know.
So it's probably doing okay, sales wise.
Yeah. It's probably getting just a little bit of press.
Just a little bit.
So speaking of great books, let's talk about other people's things, Kerry. What's it about? And we'd love to maybe hear about something behind the scenes, like something that went right or something that went wrong, or some little funny anecdote.
Sure. Okay, so I'll tell you, first off, I do have a copy. So this is not really I don't have my author copies. This is the last of my advanced reader copies. I still do not have my author copies because COVID delayed stuff again. So other people's things is a little bit different than anything that I've written to date, because I got to bring together kind of both of myselves a little bit in this book. So it is the story of a young woman with a particular problem, which is that she has sticky fingers and she moves things that are not hers. Now, everybody around her thinks that she is stealing and she's been diagnosed as a possible kleptomaniac. But she thinks of it as an object relocation program, object relocation program. She moves things because they don't want to be where they are and they really need to be somewhere else. Sometimes when she moves things, things happen that are somewhat unexpected. So as our story begins, Nicole is really in a lot of trouble because she has moved something very valuable that belongs to her lawyer husband. He wants a divorce. He's threatening to send her to prison. Her family is just fed up with her because she keeps messing up over and over and over again. She has no marketable skills. She's out of a job. She's a high school dropout. What's she going to do? Her sister gives her a last-ditch, last-chance Hail Mary job to work with her in the family house cleaning business. This is not a good job for somebody who moves things. So Nicole is really, really, really not going to move anything. She has a mantra: do your job, don't hurt Rob. That's her sister. Stay out of jail. But books are her kryptonite, and there are books in the house that she's cleaning, and one of them just really does not want to be where it is. So she moves the book. And from there, this whole series of unlikely events happened. Moving that book begins a chain of circumstances that brings up some long hidden secrets, creates a mystery we need to uncover, leads her to a bunch of interesting connections, and makes her wonder whether maybe her curse is really a gift that could be used for good. So that's the story.
Amy, you would love this book.
It's
very good.
Right here, written down.
Yeah. So the fun little anecdote about this story really is that the main, there's a character named Hawk who is a private investigator. He's very important to the story, and I absolutely adore him. Hawk was not in this book until 3/4 of the way through the first draft, and I did plot this time, Heather. I want you to know. So it wasn't really working. There was something wrong with the book. I did not know what it was. I was in the shower hanging out with my muse, and Hawk showed up like literally in the shower and said, "Hello, I'm Hawk. I'm a private investigator. I'm here to solve all of your problems." And I said, "Well, hello, come on in. We're good." So then I got to rewrite the whole book and put him in all the places where he belonged. And you can't imagine the book without him now, as a matter of fact. So that's my story.
It's an excellent book. So your anecdote behind the scenes is that you were having a shower with a character.
I was. Yes, I was.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that's the thing they do. Those characters will show up wherever they feel like it.
Yeah.
They're really rude.
They are. Well, what's really rude is the way that they don't show up like at the beginning. Like I'm kind of dealing with some of that with the book I'm writing right now. You think you know what's happening. You think you know what you're doing. And then all of a sudden the story decides to tell you something that you didn't know that's kind of important. It's like, could I have had this information, a little sooner? But
that always happens to me as soon as I turn a draft into an edit. Because then the next day I'm like, oh, I just figured out how to fix this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Follow-up email.
Because your brain is resting. You've turned it in and you're relieved. So you're not actively thinking about it. But then all that brain matter in the back of your head is still processing, right? And then it forces this idea to the front of your head. And you're like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that sooner?
Yeah. It's okay. I love that those ideas come and, they make the book so much better, and I don't mind revising. So it's all good. It works.
It sounds like Hawk as a delightful companion. So, hey, you could have been
a great character. I really loved reading this one because, this whole idea that we steal things or people steal things, whatever, but for them to, these items that really don't belong in a certain place. I love everything about it. It just makes me think of time travel a little bit. It makes me think of, it's got all these, I mean, the book isn't time travel, but what I mean? It's got that element that's special. So
It's kind of a little bit of a metaphysical kind of a twist to it.
Yes.
There's something going on out there that knows something we don't know, and that it can use us to do things that maybe don't make our lives real easy.
Yeah, understatement of the century.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is just a really clever concept. So I can't wait to read it. Yeah, I agree, Carla. It's a very original concept.
Thank you. That's my favorite thing. I've been getting that feedback, and it just makes me really happy. People have been telling me, this is a kind of like a new idea. I'm like, oh.
Then you'll know it's a really great idea when people start imitating it.
Yes. There's going to be 47 other books like it.
Yes.
Well, I'm kind of hoping maybe that some of them will be mine, because I've actually had some early readers who want sequels to this book, and it does lend itself to that without giving too much away. It very much could lend itself to some sequels, and I had that in my head. So I've had like 6 early readers at least that have told me that they would like me to do that. So maybe
clearly they're brilliant readers, and you should listen to them.
I believe that.
Oh, look, we have another one. Carla says, yes. So, Kerry, I happen to know that you're a very, very talented individual. Aww. Not only are you an amazing writer and an amazing friend, but you also have this new skill set that you've developed, and it's become your favorite beverage, and you have to tell us about it.
All right. Yes, this is true. After years of occasionally drinking a margarita in a Mexican restaurant and thinking it was good, have really discovered margaritas. And I have COVID to thank for this, because I wanted a margarita, but we didn't want to go out. So I was like, well, how could I make a margarita? So I looked up recipes. I'm a purist now, people. Like, no more of that mixed stuff. I almost said other words, like ever. So margarita, 2 ounces of really good tequila. Half an ounce of Grand Marnier. It's 1 ounce of Grand Marnier. Let me take that back. Half an ounce of agave syrup and the juice of a lime. Squeeze it all together, put some ice in there, shake it up, pour it over fresh ice, shaken, not stirred, and drink that sucker just like that.
That's how I make them.
Good. So good.
What tequila do you use? What's a good tequila?
Okay, I said good tequila. I didn't go like all the way out. I went Jose Cuervo.
Jose is good enough.
Jose is good enough. It's supposed to, by the recipe that I got, it has to be tequila blanco. So, you have to have, and I did try another tequila. It was not as good. Matters. Yeah. If you're not putting a bunch of mix in there, you can actually taste it.
Yeah.
Well, and if it's too good of tequila, you don't want to be mixed. It's just like a bourbon. If it's that good, you're not mixed. You don't want to mix that stuff with.
And they do make a lot of like scented tequilas, or like tequilas infused with different.
Right.
And you're supposed to sip it. My parents have a few, and I can't quite get there. Like I try, and I'm like, all the hairs in my nose just caught on fire as I was sipping that. But
here's my problem is I am kind of a lightweight. Heather knows this. We've tried to drink together before at Denver, which is worse because it's high, right? So that's my normal drinking is, so I can't just sit and sip tequila. Actually I can probably only drink one of these margaritas because they're, but very good. Gotta say, I am a lightweight. Sadly,
that's a good quality.
I don't know. I really like to drink too.
Yeah, you just have to pace them. You got to pace it out. You have one at lunch and then have one at dinner.
There you go. Maybe one at breakfast.
No judgment for me.
I want to hear about your other talent. I know you have a business called Author Genie that's relatively new. And tell us about it. What is it?
Well, Author Genie was born from this, that I kind of thought I wanted a virtual assistant. And I got thinking about that. But as I would say to my author friends, I don't know who I would hire, how I would trust, how I would even tell them what it is that I want them to do. And so, last year's book didn't exactly, it was a good book and I liked it very much, but it wasn't going to support me in the manner to which I've become accustomed. So I thought, well, I need to do something I don't want a day job. So I was like, well, I know how to do all of those virtual assistant things, and I'm an author, so I know what authors need. So Author Genie came to be. Really what it is we do for you what you don't want to do for yourself, and sometimes I know what you need before you even do. So I have been doing all kinds of things for authors. I make graphics, I do newsletters, I help them do some planning about launch, do a Instagram strategy. What else have I been doing? I learned things too. I didn't know how to do reels, but I figured it out for a client. It's fun. Pitching podcasts, all of the things. There's really things come up every now and then. There's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that, but sure. Okay. So we did think it's fun.
How do you find time?
Well, yeah, that's a problem. My only rule is I only work with people that I love. And so, because if I'm working for myself, then why should life be miserable? So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's very, very true.
Well, and as you can see probably in our chat here, that Kerry is very go with the flow and open to trying new things. So she's a great person to bring on because she's got out of the box ideas.
Hey, Carla says I'm allowed 2 margaritas. So tonight.
She did. It's on. Okay, so you're in Pacific time, so it's only 5:20 there. But hey, 5 o'clock, you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I also have ice cream for tonight. I'm going all out. Ice cream and margaritas. Lunch day. Woohoo!
Yes. Love it.
Well, and in addition to your Author Genie business and all the books you write under 2 different author names, you also have a fabulous podcast.
Yeah, that's true. I do.
Which, why don't you tell? Okay, I've been on it. I'm sure Heather, you've been on it. So tell the folks about this podcast because it's a great listen. It was a very fun interview.
Okay, so the podcast is called Tell Me Your Secrets. We do it live on Facebook, and then it's packaged as a regular podcast. It's through Authors on the Air, so it gets a good bit of exposure through Authors on the Air because they have a very wide network. Mm-hmm. The thing about Tell Me Your Secrets is I want to know something from you that all of the other interviews aren't getting. How all the interviews start to sound kind of the same after a while. So I want to sit down, have a great conversation like we are chatting over a margarita and get you to tell me something that I really want to know. So it's fun. I like to laugh a lot. We have a good time. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. She's very busy, Sharon. Making me scared.
Go ahead.
I like to be busy.
Yeah, good. I get it. I've just been enjoying that brief break between I turned in a draft and I've been waiting for the edit letter. So I've been reading books.
Oh yeah.
Fun. And I've been catching up on my shows. Heather and I have been both watching Lucifer.
Binging it. Kerry, have you seen Lucifer?
Okay, so here's my problem. I live in a place where we can't stream Netflix or anything because we have satellite internet only. And not only is it really slow and buffers forever, they punish you if you use more than your allotted amount and cut back so that you're even slower than you were before. And the TV is controlled by the Viking who owns the remote, and it's true. It really is true. I feel a little bit like I'm letting women down as far as the whole women's lib thing because I allow this, but he gets very stressed if I try to take over the remote. So he's a little, so it's okay. It's all good. I don't watch very much TV.
Yeah.
Well, that gives you more time to read. Well, it's good that you have all these other things you do. That's probably why you're able to do them. You're not
It's probably true.
At a screen like
You're not binging the very delicious, hot Tom Ellis Lucifer.
Oh, sounds good. Sometimes we binge things like NCIS and Law and Order because we both agree on that those are okay shows. So,
Well, here's the beauty of Lucifer is you get all the joy of a procedural crime drama with the fantastical elements of the actual devil being on Earth.
Huh.
Yeah, it's urban fantasy. You would love it. There's
I probably would. I probably would.
Yeah. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek kind of humor. And
speaking of which, have you seen? Did you watch The Good Place? Have you seen
Oh
that?
my gosh, yes.
I've only seen a couple of episodes. I kind of got stuck and was like, but everybody talks about it. I need to try again. You know,
Heather, my love, it's just brilliant.
I have to go back. I'll try it again.
It took me a couple episodes too, but I totally fell in love with it. It's just,
and you definitely need to make it through that first season.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I only saw 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, give it another go.
Will do.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
It really, really was. It made me actually want to go back and read some of the philosophy people I had to read in college, like, because it made it relevant.
Yeah,
like, this is why philosophy is important.
Right. Yeah.
You're like dissecting the mysteries of the universe, or you're trying anyway. Right.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was so good.
It was good.
This place is funny.
Trisha, I agree.
I agree. And Ted Lasso is my other favorite show.
That's very cute. I haven't seen the new season. Kerry can't see it. No.
It's very sad, kind of. You know, I feel that I'm missing a great part of culture, and I have no idea what's going on. But then I do have more time to do things. It's true. Yeah. And I've been reading, like literally reading a lot. And I have come across some books I've just been so happy about. So that's okay.
You know, I was the same way until about 2 years ago. And now it's like I spend so much time with books all the time that I get to nighttime and I kind of need to decompress with something that's not a strain on my eyes, I think.
So you watch you watch stuff on the screen?
So I watch on a screen. At least I'm not reading. At least I'm not reading text. Yeah. So, okay, before we go, I have a little product I want to share, and I'm going to share it because people keep pinging me and asking me. So I have to talk about this. So I have a red lipstick and I have a berry. I don't have the berry with me right now. But I keep getting asked what it is. And it's a NARS product, which you can get at Sephora and you can totally order it online. Yeah. And this is Cruella is the color.
That's a good color.
And I love the name of it. You
look at are those more like a pencil?
It is a pencil. It's you sharpen it, but it's like a creamy pencil.
Yeah.
You know. But a lot of people keep asking me. So that's my it's not complicated. So that's my product.
Cool.
I love that.
All you are asking.
Well, nobody's asked me, but I'll share it anyway. This is my latest favorite color.
Yes.
And the reason I have it sitting next to the computer is what you don't know is Heather and I put our makeup on before the show when we're talking to each other.
In the
like, oh, what is that? What are you using?
But this is, I believe it's Christian Dior Rouge, their lip product. It's color 100, which is like a soft pink. For me, it's almost like a perfect nude. And I love it because it lasts a nice amount. It'll make it through a meal, and it doesn't feel icky and dry on my lips.
Okay, so this is really funny. Something I just happen to have right here because I'm not sure what it is. I've had it for a couple of years now. This is me in makeup. It's like maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe.
Pretty sure. Warm Me Up is the shade. Warm Me Up. Oh, it also lasts long, and there you go.
It's hard to find.
This was an impromptu product moment for me.
Impromptu is the way we like to do things. We've had a lot of very random conversations here in the Bloom Room.
Yeah. Well, and if your desk is like anything like my writer's desk, I have all sorts of very random things on it that just sort of collect over time.
I happen to be on writing retreat right now with 6 other writers in Florida. We rented an Airbnb. So you can see there's a sand dollar behind my head and a seahorse. And there's a lot of other random, I don't know what that is on this desk. So, all right. Well, listen, that was really fast.
That was great.
You're delightful to talk to as always. And that's all we have time for.
Yes. Aww. Thank you so much for coming, Kerry.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Make sure you get this book.
Yes, get this book.
Bye.